Hey, first off, any elected officials in the room? PCOs, elected officials, one of the most important ones. How many other PCOs? Any other elected folks here today? There we go. There's one of the first problems we got, right? How come elected officials are scared to be here today talking to you about what's in that video? Because they're scared of what they see up there. That's absolutely crazy. A couple quick things. First off, we live in the day of the internet, and the television, and instant communication. And so when I was in Virginia last week out at Liberty University, I went to convocation with 8,000 students crammed into an auditorium without a single mask and nobody vaccinated. Yeah. Right? To get there, I got on an airplane at a jam-packed airport and sat on an airplane for 5 hours, shoulder to shoulder, with people who I have no idea. Are you vaccinated? I don't care if you're vaccinated. I don't want to have a seat. Are you wearing a mask? Well, kinda, until I'm eating my pretzels and drinking my coffee. I'm not wearing my mask. You go turn on the TV today and you see 85,000 people jammed into the stadium in Michigan to watch, maybe it was Michigan, that was last week, to watch the football game. No mask, no vaccines, right? None of it. None of it required. Do they think that we don't see that because we live in Washington State, right? They think it's not so clear out there in terms of what is going on. How come the science in Florida and Texas and North Dakota is somehow so different than the science in Washington and Oregon? And even California. If you go down to the concerts down in the Palm Desert coming up, no vax required, no mask required. But in Jay Inslee's Washington State, oh, by the way, we just celebrated 600 days of Jay Inslee's dictatorship in Washington State. Did you enjoy it? Was it good for you like it was for everybody else? I mean, absolutely ridiculous. And again, you go back to this video, which is exactly right. No elected officials here tonight. We should have elected officials here. We have people who hopefully will be elected officials here tonight. And hopefully they're going to say a word or get introduced. But folks, there is something wrong. I am not a person who says I want to have a complete, system with no government. I'm not an anarchist. I believe in government. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the role of government, correct? Right? I'm all there. But something is out of balance. The government, here's what I'm going to show you. Government, follow the money. It's not just in government, anything in life. Follow the money, right? And nothing against any government employees who are here today. I'm sure you're working hard and doing a great job. During the pandemic, how many government employees saw a reduction in their pay? Zero. Zero government employees saw a reduction in their pay. How many small business owners saw a reduction in their pay? How many people that work for a living saw a reduction in their pay? Hundreds of thousands, millions of people it impacted. But nobody in government saw a pay cut, not a single one. Even when they didn't have to go to work. They actually got paid more because we gave them computers to sit at home and not do anything compared to go to the office and not do anything. Guess I shouldn't have said that. That's mean. There's lots of good people. There's too many people in government employment. But who else did really well? Amazon, Jeff Bezos, Microsoft. All of those people made billions and billions more of money. And what are they doing to control our thought process through the internet and do everything else? Is to try to control you with hate and fear. And that is what they are all about. Hate and fear is running our society right now. We have to push back. And we have to put a little bit of fear into the government officials again. And the way we do it is not hopefully by having to pick up pitchforks and guns and charge people's houses and do different things like that. Hopefully we can do it at the ballot box this November. Because I can tell you one thing. If you send the same people back to the school boards of Whatcom County and Washington State who refuse to push back on a mask mandate, do you think they're going to push back next year when they say, oh, your 5-year-old has to get a COVID vaccine? Do you think they'll have the courage to do that? No. You need new people, top to bottom. Somebody run against me and beat me who's better and more like that lady up there. I'd be happy. That would be awesome. But that's what we have to do, every single level. Do you think that if Todd Donovan gets reelected, do you think he's going to, it's going to get better in Whatcom County, right? What if you have somebody like Nurse Nancy get elected to the county council? All of a sudden, you have a different world out there. If Barry Buchanan gets reelected to the county council, is anything going to change? Yeah, it'll change. It'll get worse because they'll be even more empowered and think all this radical stuff that they did is what the people want. That's why we have Kamal for us all, who's going to win that race and hopefully change us to get it equivalent. Every single election, from the school board, the fire district, to county council, the city council, all the way up and down the ticket, it is so important to get people in there who will have the courage. You know, people tell me, oh, Doug, this is a loser issue. Oh, it's a loser issue. 85% of the people are vaxxed. You know, if you go poll Republicans, they're all angry that the people that won't get vaxxed, you read the Seattle Times, which I don't know why I do it, it's like picking a scab. But, you know, they have articles in there all the time. Oh, Republicans are turning against Republicans who won't get vaxxed and won't wear a mask and all this kind of stuff. Number one, I don't believe it. And number two, I don't believe there's such a thing as a losing issue when you're fighting for what you believe in. That's the most important thing. When you're fighting for the Constitution, when you're fighting for those core principles, there's no such thing as a losing battle when that's what you're trying to get accomplished. So great video. I want school board members elected who will show that and make that required viewing in our school districts at the local level. I don't want to run a build the state level requirement. I don't want the feds to tell me to do it. I want the school boards locally to stand up and say, we're going to show that so our kids can see what's going on. So anyway, I've talked too long already. Thank you for being here. We just need more people, not like me, but more people who are willing to stand up at an event like this and say, that's a great video. That's what we need. And that's what we need from our elected officials right now. Folks, I'll just finish where I started and say, we can see what's happening throughout America. We know what's happening in Florida. We know what's going on in Texas and all of the Midwest, whether it's Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, the Dakotas, Montana. Well, Idaho, I'm a little worried about Idaho, to be honest with you. We can't all move to Idaho. You got to stay here and fight for Washington. So don't be moving to Idaho, please. Let's fix this first, and then we'll go. Anyway, we have great candidates this year. Your ballot's in your hand. You know, and I'm not going to ask you for money and donations and all that kind of stuff. What's more important than money? I'll let them, because they have the fundraisers, they'll be here for money. More important than money is you getting 10, 15, 20 people to vote. That's what's more important than money, right? You could give me $100 and I could go buy yard signs and pay a consultant to go do things, right? More important for each one of you to go and get 10 people and tell those 10 people they have to get these people out to vote, because that's how we're going to turn it. I have a great theory. Whether this election, and particularly in 2022, if people we need to get people elected, let me phrase this properly, who support what you just saw in that video. If that doesn't happen in 2022, I am very, 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 very concerned about our country. Because if you send the same people back who have locked down this country, who have done so many terrible things, who have given away our jobs and our wealth and our treasury to foreign countries, who have tried to lock you down, use the power of the government to say, if you do not get this, you will lose your job. If those people get reelected, what will they do next? What will they do next? I mean, we have a chance right now. So anyway, thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. I'm honored to be able to stand up here for a second and say, I support that. That's what we need. And hopefully we'll get more of that in the future. So just fight, fight, fight. You have your ballots. It can't be any easier. You know? Just get them in. Get your neighbors in. You find one on the street, vote it. I didn't say that. But anything you can do just to get those ballots in so we can get this thing back on track, because there's a fundamental inequality happening in our society right now. 600 days of J.L.'s dictatorship. People being threatened to lose their jobs. The ferry's not running. The buses aren't running. Schools are going to be understaffed. All those things are bad, but that's because the fundamental aspect of violating your personal liberties and rights by trying to force you to do that. It's absolutely crazy. Makes me angry. This is why I got into politics, because I don't like people telling me what to do, right? Which is kind of weird for a politician, right? Because I believe in freedom of the people. And that's what we have to have more of in Washington State. And working together, hopefully, folks, we can do that, and we can return power, freedom, and prosperity back to the people and take it away from the government. So thank you for letting me talk. I'm done now. Oh, yeah, as long as no questions about math, I'm good to go. Yes, ma'am.
We're writing emails. You probably know many of us are protesting.
Okay, here's what I'll say, right, is no, and I'm in the legislature, right, so we start in January, we run January to April, basically, and I'll say, no decisions are made in April, right? The die is cast in November. And I think every waking moment should not be writing letters to people who will not care. Do you think if you hit Todd Donovan with 1,000 emails saying, Todd, I'm really upset with you being who you are, right? He doesn't care. Or say, Todd, please change your mind on this position. It won't make a difference, right? It's much easier to elect somebody who agrees with you than to change their mind after they're elected, right? So those things are good to do. The protests are good. Get people motivated. Be out there in public. Give people support. Be the umbrella. Be that person out front who's leading that people will come to and say, yes, there are other people like me who feel the same way, because they've isolated us. They've locked us down. They said you can't go and be social and be communal and do things with people. And they hit you with the hate and the fear. So writing letters to your folks right now is not a good use of your time for the next 3 weeks, in my opinion. Best use of your time is simply getting ballots in for people who are here tonight, with us tonight. I saw, was Munchley here earlier, Ferndale City Council. John's here, he's great, get him elected. But those are the kind of things, school board, everywhere, all the way up. I can't emphasize enough, because if you send the same people back, you can go to every virtual Zoom meeting they'll allow you to sit in there and make a virtual comment on, and they don't care. They don't care. Yes, ma'am.
You are saying, I don't mean this at all with disrespect. You're preaching to the choir here. How do we convey that? I mean, there are so many more of them who will re-elect the same stupidity and the same.
We're all fired up here.
Yeah. So, how do we convey to them without looking like nutcases ourselves? Because as soon as I talk, they think. So, how do I reach out to that mass?
There's multiple issues. The COVID and the vax is one issue. Your taxes going through the roof are another issue. Your limitability on your property rights is another issue. The vindictive nature of the government to go after small business is another issue. This is all these different issues we need to push back on. Right now, this is the most clear and obvious one to us, the mask and the vax mandates. But there are so many, and also highlight the candidates. Talk about the phenomenal people that we have running for office this year in Whatcom County. I mean, they're great. I mean, if they sat down with them all, they would vote for him in a heartbeat. If they got a chance, I met Nurse Nancy for the first time a couple weeks ago. If they sat down with her, they would vote for her in a heartbeat. So that's what we have to do, communicate. And remember, this upcoming election is going to be 50% voter turnout, right? So even though it's mailed to you, half the people still aren't going to mail in their ballots. So that magnifies every voter you can go out there and get to and get them to turn their ballot. That's like 2, right? So I mean, that's what you do. And people, it's out there, right? I was in Virginia, like I said last week, and you could feel it out there in Virginia where people are ticked off about what's happening, whether it's critical race theory, whether it's radicalized, other aspects in your schools, all those things. There's so many issues right now that people are mad about. A long-term care tax, capital gains tax, income tax, property taxes skyrocketing, your property valuations going up. People who have a rental building being told you can't charge rent. That's the government just took your property. You're done. That is communism. If you say, I do not have the ability to charge rent for a property I own, told that by the government, that's communism. That is not private property rights. Yes, sir?
You got any insight on what's going to happen Monday with the time clock running out?
I do not. I was wrong on that. I thought Jay Inslee would blink. I thought he had some sense of decency, and he doesn't. He doesn't, so I don't know what's going to happen. The courts. I hope. We have been pushing for that, but I do not know. I thought he would not get to this point. I was hoping more school boards would push back. We didn't see it. And again, it all comes back to, if you do not push back, they will just keep rolling and rolling and rolling until they hit a barrier. And so I'm hoping that the ferry stuff and the airline shutdowns and the bus shutdowns will help. But
isn't it better that clock runs out?
Better for who?
Than them just extending it. You need to come to a wall.
Well, I would like to see it extended because I don't want people to lose their jobs over this. And while we want it, I don't want people to take that sacrifice. I want people to continue to pay their bills and take care of their family and go to work and do things they love. but here's the problem, right? And this is what's gone wrong. I didn't mention this one because it's a little, it's scary. Jay Inslee loves this because he's now able to purge law enforcement and fire departments. And so he wants to defund the police, and so he is using the vax mandate as a mechanism to defund the police. You are purging people, and of course from Jay Inslee's perspective, those who have the courage and the wherewithal and the spine and the belief system to say, I'm not going to get vaccinated, or those who are going to stand with their brothers and sisters in the force who won't get vaccinated, those are the exact people he wants out. And so he loves this. And then they don't rehire, and then some, and don't get me going. All right, that's enough. I'm not running. Okay. Yeah. Hey, thanks again. Vote, get people to vote. Ballots are there. I cannot stress that enough. I voted today. Yes, I voted for Kamal. I voted for, who else did I vote for today? For John Huntley, for Kendall. Who else is on my ballot? I don't live in Ferndale, John, so I couldn't vote for you. I voted for 2 new school board members in the Ferndale School District, though, because I know that the incumbents didn't stand up and push back, so I want new people in there who will help get it done for the kids of Ferndale. So, vote. Anyway, all right, thank you. Right hard.